Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fantasy Sports Insight, or FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, one of the NHL coaches here, and things have been going well this season. Hopefully you guys have been able to do well too. We're just going to be breaking down this small 3-game slate. It's not going to take a lot. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's a pretty chalky, straightforward slate. Yeah. Let's just go over the lines first. The odds: Florida, massive favorite, minus 350 on the money line. Over under is trending to over 6.5. So it could be at 7 by tomorrow or by puck drop. Philadelphia, they're undefeated on the season, but this is not a great NHL team. I know they just beat Tampa Bay tonight, but they're gonna have a tough time here going up against Florida. And I know I was touting, the Maple Leafs going up against Arizona, but like I researched it all and I was looking through. It was the second biggest upset in the NHL in terms of like a Vegas money line in the past 16 years. Like, it was unreal. But Florida should be able to do put up a handful of goals here going up against Philadelphia, who, they allow a lot of shots. They've just been getting some strong goaltending here to start the season. Colorado is going to be your other chalk kind of favorite, minus 220 at home. Pretty much whenever Colorado's at home, they're going to be a team that you're going to want and be targeting throughout the course of the season. Final game, St. Louis on the road, slight favorite, minus 146. Over under is 6 in that one. That's going to be kind of like the forgotten game. So maybe that's a game where you want to turn towards for GPP. And there is a line in that game that I do really like for a GPP stack. It could be a little bit popular, but I still think it's just a fantastic stack. But we will get there when we do. So let's start off with this Philadelphia Florida game. I do not have a lot of interest in Philadelphia at all. Like, I'm probably not going to be playing any Philadelphia. If I do play some guys from Philadelphia, it's going to be some of like their shot blockers. They allow a lot of shots. They're allowing like 34 shots a game through their first 3. Florida is a team that shoots the puck a ton. They're just going to be going up and down the ice. So I would be probably targeting the shot blockers for Philadelphia here. It's going to be guys like Sanheim, Braun. Those are like the two that kind of really stand out. Provorov, he had that crazy game where he had 10 block shots, but don't be expecting that. He had 1 the next game, and then he had 2 in his following games, not in the game logs. But, in Tampa Bay on Thursday night, he had 0 shots on net, 2 block shots. I don't want to be paying 5.9 for that when I can be paying up and using my salary for much better plays. Same with Tony DeAngelo. I don't want to be paying 6.4 for him. It's just too pricey when there's so many other ways that you can go. So Philadelphia, not too much interest on that side of things. Florida, whole lot of interest. But you do have to be paying attention to Ekblad and Montour, making sure that they are healthy and good to go. Montour was a late scratch right before the game last time out. So if he's in, I think he's a very great value, 4.1K. He skates on that top power play unit along with Ekblad on that top power play unit. But, he shoots the puck, he blocks the puck, he can get you, the bonus in either of them, and he can kind of get on the score sheet. He had a goal earlier on the season against Buffalo, so 4.1K, I think he's a great value if you do land in that mid-tier range for a defenseman. Florida's lines, their even strength lines and their power play lines don't line up as well as we want them to. Their top line is Verhaeghe here, along with Barkov and Reinhart. Verhaeghe skates on the second power play unit. Barkov and Reinhart get the top power play unit. So if you're going to be correlating like 2 guys from that line, I would definitely be targeting Barkov and Reinhart. The second line for Florida is going to be Sam Bennett, centering Matthew Tkachuk, and where is he? There, Balcers. I was hovering over him and I couldn't find him. And Balcers. It's kind of the same thing. Tkachuk, he skates on the top line, but the R2 guys skate on the second power play unit. Tkachuk skates on the top power play unit is what I meant to say. And the other guys are in power play too. So not too, like, they get crazy with their, or wonky with their correlation. So it's not super great. But still, for Florida, I think really anybody could be a solid target there. I'm going to be sticking with Barkov and Reinhart as my 2 favorite guys from Florida, especially in cash, optimal builds. Those are going to be 2 guys that are probably going to see quite a bit of ownership. And you can kind of see, it's going to be pretty simple salary-wise to jam in a lot of these top studs here. For Hagee, I think he's more of a GPP play, but still, top line, skating with Barkov, only 4K as a massive, massive home favorite. even though he's on that second power play unit, he could be a great value play for you moving forward. Into this Winnipeg and Colorado game. Winnipeg is one of those teams where they have that top line and then just like not much else to really get a whole lot excited about. Their top line is Connor Ehlers and Scheifele. They carry, the majority of the fantasy output, the offensive output. They're kind of like Tampa Bay in that regard, with the point Stamkos Kucherov. And I know they kind of separated that line and it's caused chaos. But it's still the top line. It's pretty much all you're going to be targeting. So in GPP, you could go there. They're expensive. They're on the road at Colorado. They're big underdogs, but it's on a 3-game slate. These guys are very talented. This is a line that could break the slate on pretty much any given night. So if you want to go Connor Ehlers and Scheifele in GPP, go for it. But after them, especially in like cash build optimal routes, there's not really a whole lot to like. Their second line, if you're interested, it's Cole Perfetti here. And then it's going to be Blake Wheeler on the right side, and then up the middle, it's going to be Pierre-Luc Dubois. Dubois, he shoots the puck a little bit more now. We mentioned in a previous video how he's shooting more ever since he moved to Winnipeg from Columbus. So, he's got a little bit more floor to him, but still not a super exciting play. On the Colorado side, this is where the exciting plays happen. Nathan MacKinnon, Lehkonen, and Rantanen. There's your top line. These three Colorado pieces, they all skate on the top line together. They all skate on the top power play unit together. So if you can jam all three of them in there, great. But it probably means that you're losing one of these top Florida pieces as well. Because if I was to throw in a goalie, we'll just throw in a mid-tier goalie here. Let's go with St. Louis. 2.5. It's possible, but you don't want to be punting min price on a third of your lineup. Probably not optimal. But I think, fading Rantanen possibly could be, a better option. And going with MacKinnon and Lehkonen. And then throwing in a guy like Nichushkin, who he does skate on the second line for Colorado, but he still skates on that top power play unit with MacKinnon, with Lehkonen, with Rantanen. So if that power play is going, even though he is on the second line, he can get the correlation with these other two guys. So like these 5 guys, and then, pick a goalie. Don't stress about goalie. Just don't stress out about goalie. But 3.2K remaining, this is much more feasible, much more doable, and it still provides a lot of correlation, and it's almost like safer in a regard. Say Colorado 1 doesn't do a whole lot, then you're completely done with Colorado. But say the second line goes off, at least you still have that second line exposure with Nichushkin in your line, with the correlation of maybe getting a power play goal with it on top. So I don't mind them there. The second line for Colorado, that would be more of a GPP route. Alex Newhook, 2.7K. I know the price is very tempting, and he is a solid player. Still very young. But not much of a floor there. Evan Rodriguez at 3.1K is there, and then Nichushkin. So Florida, Colorado, I think is going to be very, very popular. Now we get to the final game. I think this is where more of the GPP is going to lie. Not a whole lot of ownership here. But the one line that I did talk about that I absolutely love for GPP is going to be Buchnevich, Tarasenko, and Thomas. These are 3 guys who skated together all season long last season, and they've continued it on this season, and the chemistry is there. They haven't missed a beat. You can kind of see just some of their production so far in this season. They are technically the second line, but St. Louis is one of those teams, first line, second line, they're interchangeable. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It really doesn't matter at all. But these guys, they all skate on the power play unit together. They all skate at even strength together. And like I said, they've been skating together for well over a season now. So they have it locked down. Going up against Seattle, Seattle's been allowing a lot of shots on net to start the season. And this is already their 5th game. They got a little bit of tired legs because St. Louis, this is only their 2nd game. Believe it or not, this is only their 2nd game of the season. They're 1-0. Seattle's on their 5th. So I do think that this St. Louis trio here is probably one of my favorite GPP routes. If you want to go one of these guys in cash, I don't mind it. I really don't. But I think they're probably going to be lower owned just because you can fit in a solid Florida and Colorado stack and just, move on with everything. On the Seattle side of things, St. Louis in their one game that they did have, they really shut down Columbus. Columbus, I think, only had like 23 shots on net, even with playing from behind. So not a whole lot of interest in Seattle here. St. Louis historically has kind of been a team that, they shut things down, especially like Ryan O'Reilly down the center. One of the best defending centers, one of the best defending forwards in the entire league. So not a whole lot of interest in Seattle. And same thing with Florida. Their lines are very wonky when it comes to like correlating power play units with their even strength lines. Their top even strength line is Burakovsky, Matty Beniers, and Jordan Eberle. But Eberle and Burakovsky are they skate on the second power play unit. Beniers, he's the odd man out. He skates on the top power play unit. But then their second line is Bjorkstrand, Wenberg, and Schwartz. But Schwartz is the odd man out there. He skates on the second power play unit with Burakovsky and Eberle. And then Wenberg and Bjorkstrand skate on the top power play unit with Beniers. This is GPP only. They're very affordable, very cheap, but it's kind of for a reason. I just don't have a whole lot of interest in Seattle, but yeah. So that's kind of how this slate's going to be running down. Florida, Colorado, I kind of gave you the plays on who I really like from those two teams, and you can easily fit them in. Philadelphia, if you want exposure to them, probably the shot blockers, just trying to defend that Florida onslaught that's going to be happening. Winnipeg, top line GPP, Connors, Ehlers, and Scheifele. I think would be my go-to route. St. Louis, I love the Thomas, Tarasenko, and Bugnevich. Bugnevich, he didn't practice on Thursday, so the warm-up lines or the lines don't have them in now, but it was just a maintenance day. He's perfectly fine. He made the trip to Seattle. He's gonna be okay. So I do like that there. And then Seattle, not a whole lot of interest. So that's kind of it for this slate. Nothing too exciting, but as always, thanks for watching. Good luck in your contests, and we will see you guys in the next video.